Welcome to r/slash relationship advice, where OP overhears her boyfriend's parents saying incredibly racist things about her. My boyfriend displayed my nudes on a wall of women he and his friends have slept with. I feel like my life is ruined. This all just happened 1 hour ago, so I'm really shaken. Sorry if it's too long. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years and 4 months. We met at the college we go to. My parents live in the same city where our school is, but my boyfriend lives about 6 hours away. When school's in session, we both live on campus. I haven't been able to see him since it closed due to COVID and we had to go home. Some background. My boyfriend has a group of friends in his hometown that I've never liked. They've been friends since high school, and believe me when I say that they still belong in high school. 2 of them are brothers from a rich family who don't work or go to school. They spend their days smoking weed and playing video games. One of the other friends is in the military, and the last 2 friends as well as my boyfriend are in college, but all go to different schools. It's pretty rare that they're all home at the same time, especially with one being in the military, so he's away a lot. My boyfriend is really protective of the time they have together. I've spent a lot of time with these guys because every time I visit my boyfriend's hometown, I see at least the 2 brothers. You may be wondering why I don't like these friends. For one, they don't believe in girlfriends. My boyfriend is the only one in the group who's been in a relationship for longer than a few months. They think women are good for passionate hugging and not much else. I'm not putting words in their mouths. One of them literally told me that to my face. I am very outspoken, so they hate me because I call them out on their BS. It goes without saying that it's basically their mission to convince my boyfriend to dump me. Whenever there's an issue between his friends and I, he just tries to stay out of it. He doesn't stand up for me. I hate who he becomes when he's trying to impress these douchebags. The majority of our arguments has been a result of him allowing his friends to treat me like garbage. They've been rude or blatantly ignored me. My boyfriend is the calmest, sweetest, most wonderful person, or so I thought. I never understood why he kept them around when it was so clear to me he had outgrown them. It appeared that they had pretty much nothing in common. I see now how alike they are after all. For the record, I knew I should have held him more responsible for his friends. However, it was just too easy to put them out of my mind. They were only ever an issue if they were outwardly rude to me during one of the few weeks per year I hung out with them. The rest of the time, he was a really great boyfriend. I never imagined him hurting me this way. Back to the story. The 2 brothers live in a house that's detached from the main one their parents live in. It's where they all usually hang out. I've been there many times. It has its own kitchen and everything. It's literally a smaller house. They also have a basement that I've only seen a couple of times because it's their man cave. I never cared to enter anyway. I had no idea, but apparently down there all the friends have this wall that has their names on it and pictures of the women that they've each passionately hugged. Apparently, not all the pictures are sexual, but most of them are nude because they have this sick point system like it's a game, and they get more points if the picture is a nude. I guess all the pictures look like they were taken with the knowledge of the woman in the photo, but I doubt any of them knew it was going to be effing tacked up on display. They'd been doing this for years. I'm disgusted and horrified and devastated because I had no idea this is the type of man I was with. I found out because I'm friends with the sister of the 2 brothers and she saw the wall herself. She reached out only to me because I'm the only one she knows personally. She said that my boyfriend had the least amount of pictures by his name. She showed me the picture of me he had tacked on the wall. It was a full body nude I'd sent over a year ago. Thankfully it doesn't have my face in it, but I have a tattoo on my thigh that makes it very obvious the woman in the picture is me. I would never consent to let those guys see my body that way. I let my boyfriend because I trusted him. I feel shocked, embarrassed, betrayed, violated, objectified, and a little frightened. I called my boyfriend, I admit, in hysterics. It took many attempts before he was able to understand what I was saying. He at first denied the existence of the wall, then he admitted it exists, but he didn't use a real picture of me. He used a picture of someone else and pretended it was me. I told him I'd seen the picture and knew it was me. Then he started sobbing hysterically, begging for forgiveness. Then he was annoyed at me for being so upset and asked what's the big deal since I'm hot anyway. I just hung up because I can't talk to him. I can't look at him. I feel physically nauseous thinking about what he did. How he could not only share my nudes with his friends who look down on me, who treat me badly for being a woman. He allowed those men to have access to my body. I've never been so wrong about a person. I could never forgive him. I think I may want to press charges if I can get the sister to send me more pictures of the wall, but I'm sure my boyfriend has alerted his friends so they could be taking it down as I type this. I am heartbroken. I don't know what I'm going to tell my family because they're very conservative. They don't even know about my tattoo. I am so ashamed. I don't know what to do. OP, this is a pretty huge violation of trust and you shouldn't feel ashamed at all. This is a clear-cut deal breaker in my book, and in my opinion, you should definitely dump him. And more than that, yeah, I would definitely press charges. Not only do you and all those other girls deserve justice for what they're doing, but on top of that, it's the most reliable way to safely destroy that picture of you. I strongly encourage you to look up the revenge porn laws in your state because this sounds like a clear-cut violation. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway89. My boyfriend's a 25-year-old male and I'm a 23-year-old female. We've been dating for a year now. To give a bit more context, he's white and 100% Canadian and I was born in Kenya. I moved to Canada when I was 1. I'd never met his parents because they live 3 hours away from us and he's not super close to them anyway. When lockdown started and both of our jobs closed, he asked if I wanted to spend a few weeks with them so I could meet them and visit his hometown. I said sure, sounds fun. We drove there on a Friday night, and when my boyfriend introduced me to his parents, they were super nice. We were talking, laughing, all that good stuff. When it was getting late, my boyfriend and I decided to prepare for bed and went upstairs. When he was already in bed, he realized he forgot his charger downstairs and asked me if I could please go get it. When I was walking down the stairs, I heard his mother, still at the kitchen table, mention my name. So, being nosy, I stopped and listened. They said I was nice and I was happy to hear that, but then his father said, "It's a shame she's an N-word though." His mother answered, "As long as he doesn't marry her, it's fine. And he won't. He knows we would be disappointed." I kind of froze up, waited for them to change the subject, got my boyfriend's charger and went upstairs. I don't know how to feel and I still don't. I'm lucky enough to have never dealt with this kind of racism, so I'm a bit lost on what to do. What his mother said implies my boyfriend knows his parents are not happy with him being with me. Is this why he's waited so long to introduce him to me? And why didn't he warn me that his parents don't want him dating a black girl? Do I even talk to him about it? I don't want to cause more drama, but at the same time, I'm mad and also sad. I know we're not there yet, but would his parents' disapproval stop him from marrying me? And if we have kids, will their grandparents hate them because they're not white enough? I love my boyfriend so much and I know he loves me, but I don't know what to do and how to go about this. And then OP posted an update. I decided to tell my boyfriend what happened. I told him last night at 2 a.m. He was livid. I barely had time to finish the story before he started packing our bags. He kept on apologizing for the situation he put me in, and I could see how horrible he felt about all of this. He told me he wanted to talk to his parents about what they said, and asked if I wanted to be part of the conversation or if I'd rather wait in the car. Not being a person who likes confrontation at all, I hesitated, but ultimately said I wanted to be there. I just didn't want to actively participate in the conversation. I was too uncomfortable. He woke his parents up, sat them down, and told them what I'd heard. They were clearly extremely uncomfortable and kind of just stared at him, like they couldn't believe he was doing this. He told them it was unacceptable and how ashamed he was of them. He also told them that when and if we would decide to speak to them again, they better be ready to sincerely apologize and do better, because he wouldn't tolerate anything else. He also mentioned that their opinion would have no impact on who he would decide to marry. His mom looked like she wanted to say something, but he didn't let her. He got up and we left. We were quite shaken up on the ride home, but he took the time to explain to me why his parents behaved this way. Basically, he remembers his parents making racist remarks here and there when he was little, not just about black people, but people of color in general. He didn't really know it was wrong until he got out of his hometown and realized his parents were very wrong in their views. With time, he saw his parents less and less because their views regarding race and other issues just didn't align with his at all anymore, and it would create animosity every time he visited them. When he met me, even before we became a couple and were just friends, he would often post pictures of us on Facebook and his parents would see them. They never mentioned anything. When they learned that we were a couple, they said they wanted to meet me and he wasn't sure of their sincerity. He said they talked about me when they would call him, and for a whole year, my boyfriend basically tried to make sure that they were actually okay with our relationship. His parents kept saying not to worry, that they'd learned from their past mistakes, asking him to trust them. After a year, he finally believed them, and that's when he decided to introduce us. He was so happy to see how nice and accepting they were towards me. He said it himself, he was too naive. He was pretty much crying telling me this, but I could tell he tried not to because he felt responsible and didn't want to make it about himself. Maybe it makes me dumb, but I don't blame him. I know him, and he wouldn't put me in a situation like that on purpose. I believe him when he says he truly thought they changed. He apologized numerous times and told me I never had to see them again, and that he wouldn't either for a very long while. He already wasn't close with them, and this situation didn't help at all. He made it a point to say that what his mother said about him wasn't true, that he wouldn't marry me because he knows they would disapprove. We talked about it a lot last night. We barely slept. And I decided I do want to stay with him. A big majority of the comments under my last post told me that my best option was to leave him, and a lot of it coming from persons of color. And I understand why. But I do love him very much, and I really don't want to leave him because his parents hate our relationship. I think I would regret it. I'm not saying it'll be easy, and maybe I'm making a mistake, but I want to be with him. Maybe it's disappointing to a lot of you, but it's my decision. OP, I don't think you're disappointing anybody by saying you're going to stick with your boyfriend. Your boyfriend sounds like a total catch, to be honest. He handled that situation perfectly, and I can't think of a single thing I would have rather had him do differently. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway Niece Police. Should I, a 40-year-old female, report my niece, who's 17, to the police? My parents are going away for Christmas, so before they did, they hosted an early Christmas party at their home, which my whole family went to, including me, my husband, and our 16-year-old daughter, Laura. My sister and her daughter Rachel were there too. She's a year older than Laura, and they don't get along. In fact, we try to avoid them as much as we can due to the amount of times that Rachel was upset and tormented Laura. Rachel is naturally very smart and is always top of her class, and is also very pretty. While I've been happy for her and wished her the best, these things have constantly been used to excuse her. My sister even went as far as to accuse Laura of lying because she's jealous of Rachel's looks and talents. Laura took up boxing last year and has progressed really well. She's going to compete at a higher level next year, and her coach is extremely proud of her. My sister has insisted that the boxing is nothing more than a phase and has gone out of her way to downplay it in favor of her daughter's academic stuff. At my parents' place, Laura went to sort out some presents under the tree and Rachel followed her. She was wearing stiletto high heels, and when Laura had her hand on the floor, Rachel stomped on it. She was in agony. We went to the hospital, and after a follow-up visit to the doctor today, Laura needs extensive physio and will not be able to box for an indefinite period. She's in floods of tears because of this. I was raging at my sister, who's so deluded that she insists that it was an accident. I'm sorry, but after years of calling Laura ugly, stupid, fat, and anything else she could think of, do you really expect me to believe that this was an innocent mistake? Rachel, for her part, put on the crocodile tears for everyone, and only her parents believed it. My husband wants to call the police, and I do too. I warned my sister about this, and she broke down crying too, saying that her daughter's teachers have encouraged her to apply to the top universities because they think she has a good chance of getting in, and that if she ends up with a criminal record, then that will be ruined. No sympathy for me. Frankly, Rachel took something that my daughter loves away from her and left her in huge amounts of pain. She shouldn't just have her chances ruined, she should get locked up. I know it sounds awful of me, but she did an awful thing and needs to face the consequences. Laura is utterly heartbroken, and Rachel's parents won't punish her. Yeah, OP, you can call the cops, but my guess is that they probably aren't going to do anything about it. I mean, yeah, sure, file the report, it's just that's probably as far as it's going to go. I think your best bet is to just cut your sister's family out of your lives entirely. Your niece is toxic and abusive to your daughter, and your sister is an enabler. As much as I would love for that abusive niece to get a dose of justice, my guess is that her parents and the cops aren't going to give it to her. So your best bet is to just protect your daughter and keep her away from that woman. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway Spicy Robot. I'm a 31-year-old male and my wife is also 31. We've been married for 2.5 years. She's very close with her sister and sometimes stays over for movie nights, girl talk, etc. I have no problem with it. Lately, her sister's been having problems at work and drama with her other siblings. Due to the stress, she's been asking my wife to spend the night more often. This has been annoying my wife since she says she's unable to have any time to herself. This week, my wife has stayed over 3 times, including tonight, which is a little odd. On the way home from hanging with a friend, I became paranoid and made the decision to drive by and check if she was really there. It was dark out, but it looked like her car wasn't there. Shortly after I texted her that I made it home, she said that she was getting ready to leave her sister's place. We've been having issues with intimacy for a while, and she's made a promise to work on it. These issues are starting to make me feel that she may be looking outside of our marriage to have her needs met. I want to confront her about her not being at her sister's, but I'm worried that I may be wrong. Also, we're planning on attending a fireworks show with friends on Memorial Day and don't want to make things awkward. Would I be wrong to confront her? And then OP posted an update. The morning when she got home, her phone received a notification when she was sleeping. The messages were from an old college crush. Apparently, she's been meeting him for passionate hugging instead of visiting her sister. This has been going on for over a year. She's met him at his place and our place. They were also emotionally involved. She asked him for more passionate hugging than she did with me for our entire marriage. She managed to meet with him whenever I was away at work or with my friends. I confronted her and she tried to lie about everything. I backed her into a corner with evidence and she eventually came clean. She cried and tried apologizing several times, but I left the house. I had small suspicions over the years, but I thought I was just being paranoid. We haven't passionately hugged since we've been married and have been through counseling. Everything was great in our relationship otherwise. There was nothing wrong with her libido. She just enjoyed passionate hugging with the other guy and coming home to paid bills. I'm so depressed and angry. I did everything I could to be a great husband. I didn't deserve any of this. This will most likely cause trust issues in my future relationships. OP, that's rough, buddy. But I might have some good news for you. In a lot of locations, a marriage that hasn't been consummated is typically grounds for annulment. So I recommend talking to a lawyer because you might be able to get out of that marriage super easily. That was r/slash relationship advice, and if you like this video then hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.